Well, something's probably happening with Hong Kong because when you look at, what's going on, they've had riots for a long period of time. And I don't know what China's attitude is. Somebody said that at some point they're going to want to stop that. But that's between Hong Kong and that's between China because Hong Kong is a part of China. They'll have to deal with that themselves. They don't need advice. Well, we've not changed on Huawei. We're not allowing Huawei into our country. We're not changed on that. We can do business for non-security things with Huawei because that's, we'll do that. But anything having to do with national security, we're not dealing with Huawei. We've taxed China on $300 billion worth of goods and products being sold into our country. And China eats it because they have to pay it because what they do is they devalue their currency and they push money out. Our people haven't paid. As you know, we're also charging them 25% on $250 billion. So we're taking in many billions of dollars. There's been absolutely no inflation, and frankly, it hasn't cost our consumer anything. It costs China. Now, what has happened is a lot of companies are moving out of China so they could avoid. This is their worst year in 27 years, according to yesterday's Wall Street Journal. I don't want that. But when my people came home, they said, we're talking. We have another meeting in early September. I said, that's fine. But in the meantime, until such time as there's a deal, we'll be taxing them. A number of presidents that never would do anything about it. What would you say? For many years, China has been taking money out by the hundreds of billions of dollars a year. We have rebuilt China. So now it's time that we change things around. If they don't want to trade with us anymore, that would be fine with me. Would save a lot of money. I think President Xi, who's somebody I like a lot, I think he wants to make a deal, but frankly, he's not going fast enough. He said he was going to be buying from our farmers. He didn't do that. He said he was going to stop fentanyl from coming into our country. It's all coming out of China. He didn't do that. We're losing thousands of people to fentanyl. More. Look, I did more than anybody thought with the first $250 billion, and the 10% is for a short-term period, and then I can always do much more or I can do less, depending on what happens with respect to a deal. But I'm very happy the way it is right now. My people came back. They're going to meet again in September. I said, look, if you meet, that's great. But in the meantime, we're going to pay they're going to pay a tariff, and it'll be a very substantial tariff. Now, if you remember when I did the 25%, I did it in stages. And this can also be lifted ultimately in stages, or it can be taken off. But it can be lifted in stages. So we're starting at 10%, and it can be lifted up to well beyond 25%. But we're not looking to do that necessarily. But this would be done in stages. So I put on 10% on 300. It's approximately 300 billion. We already have a 25% tariff on the first 250 billion. So the 10% follows the 250 billion at 25%.